Basketball is physical, at times brutal. Run, jump, collide, run, jump, collide. Throw in even more jumping and you get the idea. Is it any surprise then that even the most optimally conditioned athletes, those who've invested millions into maintaining their peak form, still fall victim to their physical limitations? Kawhi Leonard is the paragon of this complication. The man's knees are like paper mache. They're able to sustain impact about as well as a cotton ball trying to stop a semi on a highway. Leonard is gearing to miss some time as he continues treatment on his right knee. Last season appeared promising for the Clippers forward as he suited up for 68 of the 82 regular season games. Leonard was exceptional in those games, averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, and almost 4 assists on nearly 50, 40, 90 splits. He'd be selected to his 6th All-Star game and would make the All-NBA second team, proving that his status as one of the game's best was still binding. When Kawhi Leonard is available, he'll make the most of the time he has. For the LA Clippers, that meant they'd have both him and Paul George ready to play come playoffs. And their mid-season acquisition of James Harden put them in prime position to conquer a Western Conference that was anyone's to take. Leonard's previous postseason trip ended abruptly as he sprained his right knee in Game 1 of the first round versus the Phoenix Suns in 2023. Kawhi Leonard finished yet another playoff run on the injury report. That would be his 4th playoff stint abruptly or completely terminated due to his poor health in the past 7 years. So in 2024, Kawhi had to stay healthy for the sake of his legacy. And in the Clippers' first round matchup versus the Dallas Mavericks, he did that for 2 games. Yeah, I'm not kidding. He was sidelined yet again with the knee injury. That makes it 5 in 8 years now. The man has degenerative knees. The San Antonio Spurs diagnosed this 6 years ago, but the warnings fell on deaf ears. Unfortunately, no amount of rehabilitation or treatment can prevent a constant breakdown of a biological function, hence the degenerative nature. At 33 years old, still battling knee affliction, it's time to call it a career. The game of basketball demands sacrifice endlessly. You have to give and give and give for fragments of success. There's people who've dedicated their physical primes to the game who will never sniff an NBA court. To have played in the league for well over a decade despite suffering a degenerative condition and to have also had the success that Kawhi Leonard has had, it's practically a miracle. A future Hall of Famer has nothing left to prove and only his mortality to gamble. You want to be able to walk when you're 50 years old. Is it worth it then? The human body is a biomechanical unit designed for survivability and the continuation of life. 300,000 years of hands-on data gathering has helped us develop this intricate structure. And amid all of the mammoth slaying and continent trekking, at no point do we have to jump 40 inches in the air to ensure our survival. Yet, according to an article published by the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, which itself sources a textbook discussing athletic physiology, a basketball player can perform more than 50 explosive jumps throughout the course of a game. That doesn't include the 2 miles of distance an NBA player covers while he's coasting up and down the court, plus all the bumping and bruising in half court and transition. We'll all play pickup once in a while. Some of us have even played in high school and some fewer have played in college. But to dedicate decades and endless hours to a physical activity where you're essentially bashing your knees to the floor, that's gonna take a physical toll. NBA games are played for 2 hours for 82 days of the year, and you can add a couple more if your team makes the playoffs. Between these games, the players must practice. In the off season, they train on their own in preparation for the next season to repeat the cycle. When the weight of the world is on your shoulders, if you can't find your balance, you'll never climb the mountain. That's why guys crumble. Zion Williamson is well acquainted with crumble. Williamson's health has grounded a career that was rocketing beyond the stratosphere. In 2021, the sophomore averaged 27.7 rebounds and 4 assists. Williamson had the third highest points per game by a player at age 20, behind only LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Grouped with two of the most gifted offensive weapons we've ever seen, he was everything a generational talent was supposed to be. But weighing 280 pounds at 6'6" made Big Zion a walking live wire. His legs inevitably gave out towards the end of his All-NBA season, which caused him to sit out the entirety of the 2021-22 season. He looked rejuvenated in his return. He resumed his domination in the beginning of the 2023 season. There was a stretch of games in the winter where he averaged 38 and 6 on 70% true shooting. But during his dominance, tragedy struck. In a game versus the Sixers, the Pelicans forward injured his right hamstring. He'd failed to return for the rest of the 2023 season. By the end of last season, Zion Williamson miraculously managed to play 70 games. The stats were pedestrian given Zion Williamson's standards, but this was an encouraging marker of progress. The Pelicans maximized the availability of their star by finishing with a record of 49 wins to 33 losses. They needed to beat the Los Angeles Lakers in the play-in tournament to advance to the playoffs. Williamson was superb in the bout, rising to the challenge by eclipsing 40 for the first time that season. But during the crescent of battle, the exact moment he reached 40, he injured his left hamstring while landing. He'd missed the remainder of the playoffs. Zion Williamson's bounce-back season was slashed back to square one, and now there's debates whether a 24-year-old can sustain playing basketball. As Zion endeavors his physical blight, Lonzo Ball seeks to revitalize his decaying career. After an arduous journey, the Chino Hills point guard appeared in an NBA game for the first time in 1,006 days. A 1,000-day recess at the height of your play would leave anyone rusty, especially in a sport as reactive as professional basketball. But so far, Ball's look good out there. He's shown the talent that lay dormant, which had made him the second overall pick in the 2017 draft. There was serious discourse on whether he'd ever pick up a basketball again, so to see number 2 stepping on the court was enough to shed a tear. As a fan of the game, how can a viewer not appreciate Lonzo's playstyle? His issues when he's playing are far and few between. The guy's biggest encumbrance would be his efficiency, but that can be easily mended. Other than that, you got a pass-first floor general who can score inside and out and has a 6'9" wingspan, which allows him to lock down on defense. The exact kind of player you'd want in your backcourt. And his extended hiatus has constructed a false impression on our minds that Lonzo has limited time to return to form. The man turns 27 in a week. With his basketball IQ and natural point guard skills, he still has plenty of years to carve out a fruitful career in the NBA. For the duration of Lonzo Ball's journey, we've been treated to a unique talent who's played out a ballad of rehabilitation. His brother may be similar in that regard. LaMelo Ball has been on a superstar trajectory since he entered the league. At age 20, he appeared in his first All-Star game, averaging 20 and 8. This past season, LaMelo averaged 24 points and 8 assists at 43% from the field and 36% from the arc on 9 attempts a night. He's absurdly gifted on the offensive end while having promising displays on defense. He plays with fluidity, which is also present in every aspect of his personality. That fluidity extends to his body apparently, since his lower body is made of jello. I mean, as far as I can recall, he's the only player to sustain a non-contact ankle injury. LaMelo's ankles have stagnated a career that should be thriving at this point. In 2022, he made the All-Star team, appearing in 75 games. So from our small sample size, LaMelo Ball is an All-Star caliber player anytime he's available. And the numbers back it up. In the 9 games leading up to his season-ending injury last year, He averaged 32 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, and 1.5 steals on 50% from the field and 44% from 3, while he shot 10 3-pointers a night. LaMelo Ball was on track to having an All-NBA season until he re-injured his ankle, which ended his 2023-24 campaign. In his limited showings, he's played fantastic. He clearly has the talent to be great. LaMelo's predicament is extremely similar to his brother's, which intrigues the mind about the Ball family's relationship with injuries. Their tough, regimented training during their youth certainly had to play a role. Imposed by their father, LeVar Ball, the Ball boys had dedicated their lives to basketball from the day they were born. Lonzo has had the ball in his hands since as early as he can recall. He's always been in the action, constantly getting reps. As for LaMelo, the experience he'd garnered before he entered the league gave him leverage over his peers, as he had a thorough database of pro ball to develop from. Their preliminary involvement is what made them top recruits coming out of high school, but all that extra involvement also distressed their young, growing bodies, and there's only so much force the human body can bear. The Ball brothers became victims of a double-edged sword. Players become injury prone as a result of a plethora of things that all tie in with the evolution of the game. Basketball is an explosive sport that desires the greatest of athletes, and as the game continues to become faster and faster, maybe our human bodies will be unable to keep up with the rigors of the game. I mean, if millions of dollars can't fix your knee, perhaps there's no saving it. Thanks for watching.